Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to continue to work on the SURRON build. And for today, I'm going to be upgrading the rear suspension. Now, I'm going to do that by installing this rear FOX DHX2 shock. And I'm also going to be upgrading all of the rear suspension linkage to some beefier parts from EVFreaks. And I'll be using titanium mounting bolts to mount everything in place. Now, before we get started, the first thing I want to do is I want to remove all these ugly ass green decals because I cannot stand looking at them anymore. All right, so I'm just going to heat them up and peel them off. Now, I don't have anything against the green stickers. If some of you guys like them, it's just not my thing, and I want the bike to look a little more clean. Not too much heat. I also have a black anodized primary cover coming, so I can lose the stock one. I just want to get it hot enough so I don't have to worry about any residue left over. And quick and easy. There it goes. All right, I think that's good. Let's get it up. Oh yeah, very easy. So first I'm going to remove this fender. Now take that off and take that off. Just hang it over here. And also let's take this off. Just let that hang over there for now. All right, now we're ready to remove the linkage and the shock. There are 3 bolts that hold the swing arm to the rear progression triangle and this smaller linkage arm. And I'm going to remove this middle one first so the swing arm can drop. Now some of these bolts are on pretty good, so you might have to use a lot of force. Be careful not to strip it out. They probably use a lot of Loctite at the factory. Now I'm going to loosen these 2 bolts on each side for the triangle arm. Now I'm going to loosen the top of the shock, and I should be able to pull everything out at once. And the whole thing can pull out. Here we have the FOX DHX2 rear shock. I have some titanium mounting bolts to mount everything up, and the beefier rear suspension linkage from EVFreaks. And to mount everything up, I'm going to use this 6mm hex and these 10 and 13mm wrenches. I have all the suspension parts removed now off the rear of the bike, the triangle, all of the linkage and the bolts and the rear shock. And I have it side by side with the new parts that I'm putting on the bike, and it's really easy to see why I'm changing them. Let's take a look. So here's the stock shock and linkage with all the mounting hardware attached. Let's compare that to the new one from EVFreaks, CNC machined. I mean, that is beefy. Big, big difference. Now the FOX DHX2 has a 650-pound titanium spring, and I'm going to be changing to this titanium mounting hardware because I've seen that these bolts can bend too. Now before I get everything assembled, I need to install these bushings on the eyelets for the shock. And then I'm going to assemble all of this. And I want to compare them both on my scale and see the weight difference. Now I can use this tool to get the sleeve to be centered inside of the eyelet. Doesn't need much. Now the sleeve is nice and even inside the eyelet, and let's put the sleeve on the top. And now I have both sleeves installed through both eyelets. Let's put the rest of the shock mounting hardware on. Now I'm going to install these small O-rings on both sides of the sleeve on both ends. And I want to push it down into that groove. I'm going to put these black small washers, and now I have the black washers on over the O-rings. And now I'll install these washers that have the dimples on them, and I will put the dimples on the outside. The eyelet is fully prepared, and now this shock can be installed. Now I just have to do the same for this end. The Eyelet mounting hardware is fully installed, and now I can install this shock with the rest of the linkage. I'm going to bolt everything up and just do a quick measurement. And I'll just throw these washers on here, even though they don't go there. I have the stock shock and all the rear linkage with the mounting hardware on the scale. It's about 1.76 kg. Now the new assembly is on with all the mounting hardware, and it's about 1.78 kg, so it's really close. It's almost identical in weight, but this one is going to be a lot stronger. So the plan is to just put the shock in here, connect the triangle, and then just raise the swing arm into place and hook it in. Pretty easy. So let's do it. Now I'll put a little bit of grease on the body of the bolt just to cut down on the squeaking or any corrosion. Put the top of the shock in first. And also I'll just put a little bit of Loctite on the end of the threads. Now I'm going to mount the triangle with these two bolts here. And tight. Just get it into place. Don't forget to put these washers back for these bolts. And for the last bolt, I'm just going to pick the swing arm up and just pop it right in. Put a little bit of thread locker here. All I need to do is torque these bolts up, and then I can start working on the wheels. Now this install is done. Everything fits pretty good. It's a little tight down here with the lower linkage arm and this thicker titanium spring, but I think it'll be okay once it's compressed on the ground. I'm ready to put the Supermoto wheels on the bike now. Here I have the rear. It's a 90 by 80 by 18 tire, and I have that on a 2.15 by 18 rim. This Tusk rear wheel has a rim lock installed on it. Now I put that on the wheel because I want to make sure that the tire can't spin off the rim with the increased power output of that BAC 8000. And the rim lock will actually take the rear wheel severely out of balance. So balancing is a must if you install those. And you can see here that I've already balanced the wheel. The tire is really sticky, and it's made by a company called Unili. It's a Taiwan brand. I'm not sure if you can get it outside of Taiwan, but I'll still leave a link to the manufacturer in the description. Now I balanced both of these wheels with the rotor and sprocket already installed, but for today's video, I want to do these installations, so I removed them. But just keep in mind, when you balance a wheel, you should do it with the rotor and sprocket and everything that's going on the wheel, so you can balance it as a set. And this rear has a SURRON stock hub on it. Now I have mad respect for anybody who can mount a tube and a tire on a moto wheel like this. It's definitely an acquired skill, and it's something that I didn't get good at until after doing it many, many times. Now later on, I'll do a video specifically showing how to do this. But in today's video, I just want to focus on the SURRON build, and I want to get these wheels on there as quick as possible so I can go out and ride that thing. So let's do it. For the front, I have an 80 by 80 18, and this rim is a 1.85 by 18. Like I said, it's a little bit more narrow than the rear. And I also have this rotor mounted, and I got these rotors from a guy who was doing custom SURRON rotors a while back. I'm not sure if he's still making them. This one is about 2.2 millimeters thick, and the stock SURRON rotors are around 2 millimeters thick. So I'm not 100% sure that this will drop in and fit, but I think it should because the hub is a 110 by 15 boost hub like in most mountain bikes. So it should fit right in with the Fox 40, but let's give it a shot. So let's start with the front wheel and loosen up these axle pinch bolts. Then I can slide the axle out and get the wheel off. After test fitting the wheel, I saw that this rotor was rubbing a little bit on the inside of that caliper. So I think I'm going to install one of these rotor spacers underneath to move it out a little bit to give me some more clearance. And this one is around 2 millimeters thick, and it's stainless steel. And these things are great. I have a bunch of them, all different sizes, and I've used them on my e-bikes many times. So let's get this under the rotor and get it out about 2 millimeters, and then test fit this wheel again. Now I'm just going to clean this really quick. Get it nice and smooth, remove any Loctite or other stuff that was there from before. And then let's put the spacer on here. And then the rotor back. Just like that. Put a Loctite. Just get them in there. I'm going to get all the bolts in there and lined up first before I torque them down. Then once I have all the bolts in and almost all the way down, I will tighten them in an opposing way. Like tighten here, then tighten here, then tighten here, then tighten here. It's good to do it that way to make sure that the rotor mounts perfectly flat on the hub. Right to where the screw snugs. Now with all the bolts snugged up against the rotor and just hand tight, I'm going to torque them down. There we have it. So let's put this back on the bike and see if it fits now. Just needs some minor adjustment now, but there's no obstruction and it's not rubbing. Nice. So I'm going to finish getting this axle in, and then I'm going to tighten up the axle pinch bolts and tighten this caliper, and the front's done. I'll just line those up by grabbing the front brake. That's it. Before I remove the rear wheel, I'm going to remove this brake caliper, and then I will loosen the axle bolt and pull the axle out, and then I will just put the chain over to the side. And I will remove the sprocket off of this stock wheel and also the bolts. I need to reuse those, and I will put those on the new wheel. So let's do it. There. Now the wheel's off. Those are on there pretty good, so. This is the 56.2 sprocket next to the 48.2 stock one. And I'm going to reuse this stock one on my new wheel for now on the street tire. But when my Flow 16x19 motocross wheels come, I'm going to put this sprocket on. So let's put this on the new wheel. And I will reuse the bolts. Now before I put them on, I'm going to put a little bit of thread locker on there because I don't want these coming loose until I'm ready to torque them down. Now I'll just get them down to where they butt up against the sprocket, and then I'm going to torque them. All right. Sprocket's mounted. Now I'm going to flip it over and mount the brake rotor. These are the stock rotor bolts. I'm just reusing them. I don't have any extra bolts in this diameter, so I have to. And then just take them all down until they touch the rotor. And then I'll torque them all down. Now we got the rotor mounted, and I got this 48.2 stock sprocket mounted, and I'm gonna put this thing back on the bike now. Now before you put the wheel back in, be sure to put the spacers back in the rim. And let's line everything up and put it back. Now just slide the axle right through. Now I just need to set my chain tension a little bit on this side. Almost ready to tighten it up. She's good. Now all I need to do is tighten this thing up and torque it down to spec. Everything is lined up and straight. The chain has the proper tension, and I just need to clean off this rear rotor a little bit because I got my dirty hands all over it, and I'm pretty sure there's axle grease on it, and I just want to make sure it's clean before I contaminate my rotors. I'm using iso alcohol to clean the rotor surface. Just want to make sure there's nothing on there. All right, now I'll just need to mount the rear brake caliper and it's done. I'll just grab the rear brake when I go to line this up to help keep it centered on this rotor. I'll just hold the rear brake until it's fully tight. This thing's done. Bike is looking really sick. I bet this thing rips. I was here super late last night working on it, so I couldn't really ride it. I did manage to drive it around this little industrial area where this building is, but nothing major. I just wanted to check to make sure the controller was fully functional and the suspension had no problems, and I checked all the bolts and screws, tightened them down, torqued everything a few times. I think this thing is ready for a beating. So I came in a little early today, earlier than normal, because there's some rain moving into the area and I might not get a chance to ride this thing for a few weeks. When it rains in Taiwan, sometimes it can go a month straight. So I think I should really get out to test this morning before I start to work on it again. So let's go out and rip it and see what it's got. So I'm gonna get out of here, go test this thing. We'll see how it rips. And then try to get back before it rains. God, man, I hate getting stuck in the rain. All right, let's do it. Does not look good. The sky is super dark. It's for sure gonna rain. Now I have another battery coming from Chai, a 72 volt Gladiator. And that one's got a really high discharge peak, about 400 amps on the BMS. And I think it's over 200 continuous. And that's what you want for a high powered controller, like a Torp or a BAC 8000, is you need really high discharge if you want to take advantage of it. This battery is more for range. So I think the BMS is less than 200 amp continuous and around 300 amp peak for just a second. So there's no way for me to max out this controller with this battery. I mean, it can still totally rip, but to really max it out, you need a very high discharge battery. I'm getting a bunch of different batteries from different vendors, and I'll do a video later on where I compare them. And I can go over the different specs of all the 72-volt batteries with the different discharge rates and the kind of performance they can give you on the bike. So it's very clear. We got Boogie, man. Cannot screw around today. Oh yeah. It's definitely louder than a hub motor bike. The hub motor bike is really silent. The sine wave controller, you can barely hear it. When I'm talking to you guys, it's so quiet. So this bike's got like this loud screaming all the time. And also it's got a little bit of chain rattle because of the Sprocket chain. So I'm reluctant to put a primary drive on it. But for this street bike, I kind of want to keep it belt if possible, just to keep it quiet. So we'll see how much abuse the belt can take before it breaks. I also ordered some heavy duty belts. That's all. I definitely can't go very far because this looks sketchy up there. This thing wheelies easy. So I'm gonna go over that way today, past G-Spot. We'll go on the Taipei City side. People in the PC world, and especially like the overclocking community, probably wonder why I'm so into bikes. But I've been riding motorcycles my whole life, and BMX bikes when I was younger, but mostly motorcycles. My first bike was a Honda CBR 600 F2 way back when I was just out of high school. And then I got a ZX7R, jetted, had an Acropovic pipe. Then I got a Gixxer 750. Then after that, I built a custom Yamaha R1, and that thing was badass. It had a single-sided swing arm on it. Ducati, made by a company called Harris Performance in UK. That thing was sick. It had magnesium wheels on it, just like the 916. That thing was fully modified. I had everything done on it. Had AP brakes. Also, I had a YZ250 two-stroke. That thing was fun. These e-bikes are just an extension of that. And obviously, I can't ride two-stroke dirt bikes over here, riding wheelies. No way I could do that. But I can ride these over here, no problem. Let's go! Whoa! Oh my god. What? This guy's coming down, nips out. Oh my god, no-handed. No-handed and nips out. Wow. Alright, here goes. The back of this bike helps so much for just this. Look at that. Just turn right. Too much fun. Wow. I'll wait for that guy to come down. I'll usually just bounce back and forth in this area wherever the people aren't. Hello?
Hello, this is SURRON from UPS.
Hi.
You have shipment from UK. Can I have your address?
It's E-by Chisalio Blue.
5176
三楼。
3楼。那这个有那个 import duty 是709块。
Yeah, that's okay. I can pay the duty.
OK， 谢谢。那
When will they deliver it?
today, but I'm not sure the exact time.
Okay, thank you.
OK, thank you. Bye bye.
Cool. Those are my frame extenders. I can't believe I'm finally riding this thing. This is sick. Looks so good. Rides so good. So balanced on the wheelies. This bike is a lot of fun. God, it's so easy to wheelie. Look at this. All right, it looks like that rain is coming. Let's get out of here. Go hit that hill a few more times. Then we got to go back to the lab. I don't want to get stuck in the rain. I'm planning to start another build soon for off-road. And that one's gonna have the 16x19 flow wheels with the Dunlop MX53s. Strictly off-road bike with the primary chain drive. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I should do a Talaria or I should do another SURRON. If the rain wasn't coming, I would definitely ride longer. So I guess that does it for today's video. I hope you guys are digging the build so far. And I got one more video planned. Gonna do the Hope Tech 4 brakes. Gonna do the levers and the calipers for sure. I'll probably keep these rotors. Then I have some frame extenders for the seat. Finally gonna put those on. I got a small 3D printed part for that battery lid. And I'm gonna change the bash guard and that primary cover. Maybe a few other things here and there, but for the most part, it's done. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.